Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee or some tea. Definitely a snick snack. But you know what? You might not be able to digest those snick snacks when I'm reading this stuff. So, hold off. I keep hearing about December 13th, 2022. December 13th, it's when it's going to go into effect and about digital currency. I can't find anything on December 13th. But this is what I do have, okay? Now, this is coming from the Department of Offices and Treasury. And I do have a lot, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'll leave links for you guys, okay? You can look through them. You can read them. I do have a lot, so I'm not going to read all of it because that'll take forever, and I'm not going to do that to you, all right? So this is what I do have. This is a summary. The notice invites interested members of the public to provide input pursuant to Executive Order 14067 on March 9th, 2022, ensuring responsible development of digital assets, okay? In particular, the department invites input, data, and recommendations pertaining to the implications of development and adoption of digital assets and changes in financial market and payment infrastructures for United States consumers, investors, businesses, and for equitable economic growth. Okay? Now it says comments must be received on or before August 8th, 2022. Okay. But nowhere, like I said, do I see anything about December 13th. Nowhere in any of this paperwork. I have looked everywhere. Can't find anything that has that date. Nothing. Now, next thing that says addresses. You may want to submit comments via the federal e-rule making portal. Follow the directions, blah, blah, blah. In general, all comments will be made available for inspection. Comments, including attachments or other supporting materials, are part of the public record. Do not submit any information in your comments supporting materials that consider confidential and appropriate for public disclosure. Let's see, for further information, contact, okay. And it gives you people that you can contact. Background. Executive Order 14067 on March 9th, 2022. Ensuring responsible development of digital assets. Hereafter, Executive Order 87FR 14143, March 14th, 2022, outlines principal U.S. policy objectives with responsible to digital assets. These principal policy objectives are: A, protection of consumer, investor, and businesses in the U.S. B, protection of the U.S. and global financial stability and the mitigation of systematic risk. C, mitigation of illicit finance and national security risk posed by misuse of digital assets. D, reinforcement of U.S. leadership in the global financial system and in technological and economic competitiveness, including through the responsible development of payment innovations and digital assets. E, promotion of access to safe and affordable financial services. F, support of technological advances that promote responsible development and use of digital assets. Now, Section 5A provides that the increased use of digital assets and digital asset exchanges and trading platforms may increase the risk of crimes such as fraud and theft, other statutory and regulatory violations, privacy and data breaches, unfair and abusive acts, practices, and other cyber incidents faced by consumer, investors, and businesses. The rise in use of digital assets and differences across communities may also prevent disparate financial risk to less informed market participants, or exacerbate inequities. It is critical to ensure that digital assets do not pose undue risk to consumers, investors, businesses, and to put in place protections as a part of efforts to expand access to safe and affordable financial services experienced by more vulnerable populations. Section 5B directs the Secretary of Treasury, in consultation with the Secretary of Labor and the heads of other relevant agencies, including, as appropriate, the heads of independent regulatory agencies such as the FTC, SEC, CFTC, federal banking regulators, and the CFPB, to report to the President on the implications of development and adoption of digital assets and changes in financial market and payment infrastructures in the U.S., consumers, investors, businesses, and for equitable economic growth. The report must address the conditions that would drive mass adoption of different types of digital assets and the risk of opportunities such growth might present to U.S. consumers, investors, and businesses, including a focus on how technological innovation may impact these efforts with an eye toward those most vulnerable to disparate impacts. Now, the objective. Through this request for comment, RFC, Treasury is requesting input from the public that will inform its work in carrying out its mandate under Section 5B of the executive order. This RFC offers an opportunity for all interested parties to provide relevant input, data, and recommendations pertaining to the implications and development and adoption of digital assets and changes in financial market and payment infrastructures for United States consumers, investors, businesses, and for equitable economic growth. And it has requests for comments. Treasury welcomes input on any matter that commenters believe is relevant to Treasury's development of the report on the implications of development and adoption of digital assets and changes in financial market and payment infrastructures for U.S. consumers, investors, and businesses, and for equitable economic growth as directed by Section 5B of the Executive Order. Commenters are encouraged to address any or all of the following questions or provide any other comments relevant to the development of the report. And it goes on. Adoption to date and mass adoption. 1. What explains the level of current adoption of digital assets? Please identify key trends and reasons why digital assets have gained popularity and increased adoption in recent years. In your responses, please address the following. A. Who are the users, consumers, investors that are adopting digital assets? What is the geographical composition and demographic profile of consumers and investors in digital assets? B. What businesses are adopting digital assets and for what purpose? C. What are the main use cases for digital assets for consumers, investors, and businesses? D. What are the implications for equitable economic growth? 2. Factors that would further facilitate mass adoption. A. Describe a set of conditions or preconditions that would facilitate mass adoption of digital assets in the future to the extent possible. Please cite any public data related to the responses above. B. What developments in technology, products, services, or markets accounts for the current adoption or digital assets? Are there specific statutory technology or infrastructure development that would facilitate further adoption. Then it goes down to opportunities for consumers, investors, and businesses, general risks for digital asset financial markets, risks to consumers, investors, and businesses, which is frauds and scams, losses due to theft, losses of private keys, losses of failure, insolvency of wallets, custodians, and other things, potential losses associated with interacting with counterparty directly, disclosures and amounts of fees, disclosure of other relevant terms, authenticity of digital assets, including NFTs. Oh my gosh, it keeps going on and on and on. And then this one that I have is from the Department of Treasury as well, okay? And it's the Debt Management Advisory Commitment Meeting. Yeah. And even in this, because it's 3 pages long, and this was done on July 8th of 2022. And there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that has anything to say about December 13th. Now, maybe I just didn't find the right documents, but I'm not finding anything with that date. Nothing. All right. So, and it's the same with the request for comments and things like that. So it's just very strange. But we are going digital, but digital currency wise. But when is it going to be 100% all over the place? I don't know. I do know that it will start with like what I said before, like UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, things like that. You'll be issued new ATM cards and credit cards and things like that. You won't be able to use the ones that you have now, things like that. It'll even go along with if you get cash assistance through your food stamps and things like that. Everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. Interest rate paid on cash deposited to secure U.S. immigration and custom enforcement, immigration bonds. It's all here. It's in these links that I have that will obviously be in the description box below, so you guys can have your resources, okay? But if I were to literally sit here and read all this, no way. No way. This video would take more than 2 hours, okay? But I do have some screenshots of the stuff that I just talked about, so I will be putting those up for you right now, all right? So just stick around for just a few seconds, all right? I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And how to prepare for this, I don't know. All right? But fear less, guys.